The information analytic. Okay.
Now in our press briefing sessions with the last press briefing of the Colonel Andriy Lysenko, the spokesperson for the Information Analytical Center of the Ukraine National Security and Defense Council. Thank you.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. The situation in the zone of the anti-terrorist operation remains complicated. The counteroffensive of the units of Russian armed forces and gangs is going on in the southern eastern part of the Donetsk region. Armored vehicles of Russians and their mercenaries is located on the outskirts of Novozovsk. Today, the armed forces of Ukraine several times exchanged fire with militants near the villages of Zolote and Gorske, Lugansk region. In other parts of the anti-terrorist operation zone, there are active positionary battles in outskirts of Luhansk and Novosvitlivsk, Khrushchevata, Donetsk, Ilovaisk. In the settlements of Perevalsk, Zorinsk, Maloivanivka, Malofashivka, Vergulivka, Rosipne, we detected the coming of reinforcements for the terrorists. The militants continue to shell Debaltseve from mortars mounted on cars. On the 26th and 27th of August in the district of Novozovsk, the positions of anti-terrorist operation zone were fired upon from Grad batteries. It was spotted that during the explosions there was a unknown substance which caused tears. The preliminary analysis says that this could be the effect of the use of solid rocket fuel that is being used in non-guided projectiles. We have established that those projectiles 9M27 are used by the armed forces of the Russian Federation. On the Mariupol direction, the joint forces of anti-terrorist operation are improving the fortifications and are engaged in preventive measures. The Mariupol residents are going to military commissariats. The handing out of the humanitarian help to the local population by terrorists is mostly for the show. The food is being given out and in the view of video cameras of Russian journalists after they depart. The handing out of the humanitarian help is being stopped immediately. Today, the gas supply was renewed in settlements of Samsonivka, Pridorozhny, Krasnodon district, Irmino, but partially 24 and fully 56 settlements in Luhansk region are deprived of gas. The State Emergency Service of Ukraine is continuing the restoration of infrastructure in the cities of Luhansk region which were liberated. During the August, they have removed 1,147 tons of ruined constructions. They have also cleaned a kilometer and a half of streets and highways and 4,750 square meters territory from debris. In general, to the region, 341 tons of humanitarian cargo and 52 cubic meters of drinking water were delivered. In Donetsk region, the academic year will start in 569 schools. This is 52.1% of secondary schools. Over 170,000 school children will go to schools. For those who remain in the zone of combat action, distance learning will be organized. For teachers, free nourishment and transportation will be organized, as well as for school children from village schools. In Kiev, over 3.5 thousand children of displaced persons will go to schools. The special monitoring mission of OSCE in Ukraine sent a group composed of 2 observers to Mariupol, who will today start to work in the city. Yesterday, at the session of the UN Security Council, the Assistant General Secretary on Political Issues, Jeffrey Feltman, said that OSCE was sending a monitoring group to Mariupol in order to make clear whether there are Russian military. The Minister for Foreign Affairs of Japan, Fumio Kishida, said that the intervention of Russian troops onto the territory of Ukraine violates sovereignty and state integrity of Ukraine. The minister said that Japan calls upon Russia to stop military interference and use its influence upon separatists in order to stop fire as soon as possible. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Poland stated its resolute protest against the increase of the introduction of Russian military armed forces to the territory of Ukraine. They say that these actions of Russia against Ukraine correspond to the designation of aggression in the documents of UN. What about the situation in Luhansk? We don't have any more detailed information from the combat zone because the situation there is changing rapidly. We have information that by Rozivka in Zaporizhia region, Russian military have fired from heavy artillery upon the Ukrainian humanitarian convoy. A humanitarian corridor in Zaporizhia region. Where do you have this information from? The official humanitarian corridors are in Luhansk and Donetsk region. There are no such corridors in Zaporizhia region. There is also information that today the militants have as if provided the corridor to our troops in Ilovaisk who are encircled there, and then they closed this corridor, and our troops have sustained very heavy losses, and there are hundreds of killed among our soldiers. This is not true. You asked about the hundreds of perished. No, this is not true. Have our troops tried to leave the encirclement near Ilovaisk? In Ilovaisk and in the vicinity of Ilovaisk, there is maneuvering of our military. However, as far as the corridor that someone is talking about all the day, we have no information at all. So could you speak to the mic, please?
Who has kindly more information of this corridor? It's not possible at 5 p.m. not to have more information of the corridor. First question. Secondly, when do you expect the Russian to attack Mariupol, please? Thank you very much.
Thank you for questions.
Could you ask us who asked? Could you tell us who asked you to pose those questions?
Никто?
Nobody. The information about the corridors and the movement and the direction of movement, the number of units, names of units and their commanders is not disseminated in order to provide for the security and safety of our fighters.
When do you expect the Russian to attack Mariupol?
We are ready to repel any offensive against Mariupol. We do not need any specific time for this and any declaration of the attack. Could you please tell us in more detail about how many Russian military are there in the territory of Ukraine at the moment, whether they have maneuvered after Novozovsk was taken? The matter is that the number of Russian military servicemen in Ukraine is the information that the General Staff of Russian Federation can provide. Probably they will give it to us. So far they say that they don't have any military personnel in our territory. Do you have any information on the corridors about which Mr. Putin spoke, that separatists would be providing them? No, there are no such corridors. Some more details about Ilovaisk and the reinforcements that is allegedly going there. Our journalists are there, and they say that on the night, on the 27th of August, our reinforcement was defeated near Starobesheva, and out of 200 Ukrainian military there, only 10 survived. No, we don't have such information, and we do not confirm this allegation. What is the fate of those military who are now encircled near Ilovaisk? We know that people yesterday protested. Yesterday we had a lot of information attacks directed at alleging that in Ilovaisk our military are suffering. Yes, this is a very complicated situation, no one denies this, but I would not dramatize the situation, because as soon as there is an opportunity, and we are searching for such an opportunity, the guys will get everything necessary, and they will get reinforcement, and the reinforcement did go there. This is true. They have got some reinforcement. I think and I believe that this information campaign around Ilovaisk is a purposeful campaign by our enemies. It was gladly received by our people, because our guys are in a real complicated situation there. But this is not only Ilovaisk where heavy fighting is going on. But we have a huge question why it was Ilovaisk that happened to be in the center of information struggle. We're studying this issue. You said that in Mariupol Many residents are going to military commissariats in order to join Ukrainian forces. I can confirm this because I am from Mariupol myself, but many of my compatriots did address military commissariats over the last months. However, they were not enrolled into military forces. Maybe the situation has changed because you can volunteer, but you are not accepted. In Novozovsk, Russian tanks were spotted with inscriptions, "We are going to Kiev." We understand that this is a provocation, but how feasible is the inscription on our tanks to Moscow or to Taganrog? Because people in the east say that we shall return former Ukrainian territories, because Taganrog until 1925 was part of the Ukrainian territory. Because the situation has become much sharper of late, with connection of the Russian forces intervening in Ukraine, this situation has organized the local population in Mariupol to stand and defend their city. Yes, we have many applications to volunteer for armed forces, and also there were some volunteers who wanted to join guerrilla detachments. However, at the moment we have enough military people, servicemen there, who will be able to repel Russian military and mercenaries. That's why we are very grateful to Mariupol residents and also for their help in fortification of the city aimed against armored vehicles of the enemy. As far as the tanks with inscriptions to Kiev, I assure you that on our tanks and on our shells, we won't have any inscriptions like to Moscow, on Moscow, or any other cities of Russian Federation. We're not aggressors, we're just liberating our Ukrainian lands. This is why, you know, Ukrainian people are wise people, and Ukrainian military as part of these people won't ever be aggressors. We don't even think of crossing the border and occupying someone's land. Our task now is to liberate Ukrainian soil, to establish peace, to restore our cities and to return our people to their dwellings and continue the progress of our country. We're not aggressors. Still, I would like to get a precise answer about humanitarian corridor, because there was a statement about Ukrainian military who are encircled, that they will be let out of the encirclement if they surrender their heavy weapons. What is the reaction? Are we ready to cooperate? Will we accept those humanitarian corridors offer? Whatever the colors and flowers of those humanitarian corridors offered from the side of Russian Federation and information sources of separatist formations, they are simply not there. There is combat going on there with the aim to kill. And what about surrendering the arms? Ukraine is not ready to surrender arms and kneel in front of the aggressor. We will fight to the end, and we will reach victory. If there are no other questions, thank you very much. Have a good weekend. Bye.